So from teaching golfers all day, every day, men, women, juniors, there's some defined characteristics of the golf swing that I see happen all the time. Today, I'm going to talk you through 3 of my most popular or the most common things that I see from a full swing perspective, ways to fix them to play better golf. Now, the first thing that I see most commonly, and this happens all the time, especially with beginner golfers or people that are new to golf, is when they start, they see the ball going low, and that's because they're struggling with a strike, and all of a sudden they start leaning back to the trail side in an attempt to make the golf ball go up. And this is very common because in a lot of sports, let's say I'm throwing a golf ball or throwing a golf ball or any ball up into the air, I'm kind of leaning back, leveraging some force from the trail side, trying to push it up into the air. But with a golf club, these golf clubs have got loft on, especially irons. These are built to be hit down on the golf ball to compress the ball, producing some spin. That's going to make the golf ball go up in the air. So what this looks like, it's when the chest perhaps works closer to the trail leg rather than the front leg. And you can see, even as I make that motion, where the golf club is more likely to hit the ground with the 2 different motions. And when you watch golfers on the TV, we see the ball first and then we see the divot, and that's because they're working pressure to the lead side, getting the golf club working on a descending angle down to impact that ball, and then the turf. That's giving them all of that compression and all of the height. In the golf swing, we have something called the low point, and that's the lowest point that this golf club head is in this big arc that we build around our bodies in the golf swing. And what professionals do so well, they control that low point within a couple of inches. And the low point for maybe a 7-iron on average is about 4 inches after the golf ball. So that's the lowest point of the golf club at the point of impact. We'll give this a go now. I like to reference the shirt buttons, or maybe you can see my zipper here on my top. And as I reference this, we don't want it working backwards, we want it working towards the lead leg. So at impact, I'm going to try and picture that getting over the top of the lead foot. Let's give this one a go now. So normal setup, maybe a few practice swings rehearsing. So getting that pressure forwards, you can see where the club head's in the ground, and then we're going to give it a go. And you can see the contact there was very good. You see the divot pop up after, and you can see how far forwards I am in that follow through. Let's get on to point 2. And now the second most common thing that I see with golfers, and this is the typical over-the-top golf swing. Now, the over-the-top happens because of a number of reasons. There's actually many reasons this could happen, but for me, it's happening solely because of where the club face is throughout the golf swing. Now, why is over-the-top a problem first? The over-the-top is a problem because what it does, it creates a lot of left to right curvature generally. The more left to right curvature we have, that's when golfers start to aim further to the left, thinking that it's gonna actually play itself, do you a favor playing into pins, playing into flags, but it actually produces even more of that left to right curvature, something that we don't want to see if we want to hit straight shots, hit fairways and hit greens. This happens for me solely because of where the golf club face works throughout the golf swing. Now, as I take this golf club back, if a golfer is going to be over the top, we're going to see that club face working or trending a little bit more open. And as we can see, this is open because of where the toe end of the golf club points and the leading edge. A pretty neutral position for this would be really relatively kind of perpendicular to the ground. If you start getting the toe working this way and a little bit more, you can see kind of underneath the shaft there. What this does, it causes golfers to work the golf club face across the golf ball in an attempt to hit a straight golf shot. Really easy way to start to work a little bit of a fix into this is point number 1, actually go with a grip. So left hand a little bit more over. So from my view here, I can see 2 knuckles, and you can see this kind of crease between the thumb and index is pointing up to the trail shoulder. Pop the right hand on there in a similar position on top of the thumb. Same crease there you can see on the grip points up to this trail shoulder. And then as you start to take this golf swing, rather than roll the golf club face open, and you can actually reference the glove again, look at the FootJoy logo on the glove, open points up to the sky. If I start to close that or get it a little bit squarer now, you can see I can't see much of that logo and you can see what's happened to the lead and edge. So that's a really good starter for that golf swing. If I compare the two at the top, that's where I want to see it. If we're going to fix the over the top, that's where I'm going to see it for most people that are over the top, trying to path it more to the left to hit a straight golf shot. So drill some of those little rehearsals into the backswing there. See if you can feel where that club face is all the way up to the top, and now that's going to help you deliver that golf club from the inside. Let's give this one a go. So left hand's over a touch, normal grip, normal setup. I'm going to work some of them little takeaways into the golf swing, a little bit hooded with a club face, and then give it a little go. And you can see lovely straight bit of curvature right to left on that golf shot there. Now the third most common thing that I see, and this happens all the time, and this is the bending or the chicken wing left arm that we see very commonly. And don't get me wrong, there are exceptions to this. There's players at the top of the game, Lee Westwood, Jordan Spieth, that have this typical bit of a bent left arm, but again, there are exceptions. I see a lot of problems with amateurs with this bend in the left arm, a lot of trouble with strike. You can just see as I make that motion over a golf ball, what happens to the golf club head through the hitting area when I get excessive bend in the left arm. We lose a lot of the width, the grip end is very close to my chest, the golf club head is coming up off the ground, and that's causing me all the sorts of problems with a strike. Now, the first point that we're going to do to tackle this, and that's going to start from the very start, the really low hanging fruit grip. I see players that bend the left arm very typically get the grip a little bit too much through the palm of the hand. Now, when I'm talking through the palm, it's pretty much straight through the middle finger, straight through the middle of the hand, straight up through the forearm. And if I just pop the hands on from there, and I just try and hinge my wrist there, I'm very limited as to how much I can hinge that wrist. And if I just put that into a golf swing now, I've got no wrist hinge on the way back, which means I haven't really got that power in the golf swing. A lot of the power, a lot of the speed, a lot of the energy comes from the hinging of these wrists. And now, if I can't hinge the wrist on the way back, I start to try and add power on the way down, trying to get height, trying to get speed into the golf ball. It's all coming through this lead left arm, and it causes us a lot of problems through strike. So point number one, really easy test you can do. When you pop your hands on, straight through the fingers, pop the hand on top. You want that little bit of a knuckle, little bit of a pad under the hand on top of the grip. Lead thumb on top of the grip, and you can do a little test to see if you've got this right. If you take the bottom three fingers off, take the top thumb off, you should still have control of that golf club there. If you haven't, then it's a little bit too much through the palm. So get the grip, lead grip on there properly, right hand on, and then you can see as I make that motion now, I've got full range of motion of that lead wrist, and that's going to store a lot of energy into the backswing, allow you to take it all out and exert it all out through the golf ball, giving you a little bit more of a full release. There's one other point to that. If we come down the line now, we view this from down the line. If I have a lot of out to in path, and this is something that we've mentioned before, if I have a lot of out to in with a swing direction, a lot of this energy on the way through, it starts coming through the lead left arm because the energy and the speed is being exerted in that direction, and I have to really hang on to this golf club. I don't give myself a chance to fully release that golf club. So if I can get the club a little bit more behind me in transition, I'm in a place where I can release the club a little bit more as a feeling out to the right of target. So put those two things into a motion, lead hand grip on, I'm going to start to feel I can hinge the club up a little bit more, club a little bit more behind me with a full release. And you'll notice all of these things are mainly starting points and backswing points. This is really going to help you. So let's give those a go. I'm going to feel a little bit of wrist hinge. I'm going to feel the club's a little bit more behind me with a little bit more of a full release on the way through. And that was a great high draw, full extension on the way through. So they are the three most common faults that I see golfers making from teaching golfers all day, every day. If any of those apply to you, give the drills a go. Let me know how they went, and I'll see you in the next video. Keep it rolling. So they are the 3 most common mistakes that I see players making when getting players in for lessons. If any of those things apply to you, give the drills a go. Let me know how they went, and
See you next Christmas.
see you next year.
You sit there.